Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sue. I wanted to finish up our week discussion about fevers. I did have an audio about some basics of fevers. What is a true fever? How to take a fever in general. So please do take a look at that video or audio rather, if you feel like that could help you. Again, it has captions, so you can take a look and see if that will give you any basic information. Because today what I want to ask about, and the interesting thing is I just had a mom ask me this question just now, and that made me realize I have to make this video. So what a mom had asked me is that her sons have had a fever for a couple of days, and she wanted to know when to worry. When do we worry about fevers? And generally in children 8 weeks and older, we don't necessarily have to worry about fevers in the majority of the times that kids have them. Children 8 weeks and under, as I mentioned in the previous audio informational tool that I provided to you, that is a true medical emergency. A temperature of 100 degrees or higher is a rectal temp, and an infant 8 weeks old and under is a true medical emergency. That's when I worry. When children are 8 weeks and up, that is not when I worry about fevers until I feel that there are fevers without a known source that are prolonged. Say you're getting 103 degree temps, 104 degree temps with no other symptoms for 3 to 4 days. That's when I start to think, what else could be going on? Is there a UTI going on here? That's when my ears perk up for that. With a fever in general, I do not worry until I hear that the fevers are not being able to be managed well with appropriately dosed medications such as ibuprofen and Tylenol. That's another case. So the first case was when they're prolonged high fevers without other associated symptoms. You're looking at 3 to 4 days. The other time I worry about fevers is if they are high temps, and generally for me, in my medical opinion, higher temps is 102.5 or higher. If they're not able to be brought down or budged with appropriately dosed Tylenol and ibuprofen, that's when I start to say, okay, what else is going on here? Sometimes fevers are hard to manage with COVID and influenza. But, I always like to make sure if there's other symptoms, I always feel much more reassured. So those are the two scenarios that I worry about fevers. Is a fever of 104 a worry? Not necessarily. Not if it's coming with other symptoms. Not if the story tells me that it could very well be a viral illness. Could it be COVID? Could it be influenza? Can I test for both of those? Yes, I can. First of all, though, if somebody calls me and tells me a temp is 105, I will tell them I want you to do a rectal temp if they're 18 months and younger, or if they're more school age, I'd love to get it under the armpit. If they're able to hold it under their tongue, that's great too. And those good old digital thermometers are really the best way to take a temp. I got my digital thermometer at Rite Aid when I had my boys. So the infrared, the temporal, the ear thermometers, I'd like you guys just to put those to the side if you can. I know they're convenient, but they are not as helpful for me when I'm talking to parents about fevers. So if fevers are coming along with other viral symptoms such as cough, runny nose, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, even ear pain, those are kind of things that make me feel more reassured. And that's when I say, okay, this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense to me, then I start to question parents a little bit more, and I start to want to say, okay, let's delve into this a little bit further. Am I seeing temps of 104, 105 with influenza and COVID right now? I sure am. So keep that in mind and know that the appropriately dosed Motrin and appropriately dosed Tylenol will help your child to feel better enough so they drink. The thing with fevers is they make us feel crummy. They make us breathe fast. They make our heart beat faster. They make us look awful. When we get those temps down, all of that changes and starts to normalize. if your little one is not drinking, that is where I start to become concerned. And I ask you, please, please, please try to manage this fever, because your little one is feeling so crummy that they're not wanting to drink. Same thing with us. We don't feel good with fevers, and adults generally don't get fevers very often. And if they do, then I always know it's more likely COVID or the flu. So if you are getting sick as well as your children, I would bet that it's either the COVID or the influenza virus. So again, reach out to your docs. Make sure you let them know of your concerns. It's always okay to ask, when do I worry with a fever? But I want you to know about those 2 times that I really worry. And again, the time I worry is if a fever of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, rectal temp in an 8-week-old or less, that's a worry. And the second worry is if they're higher temps, greater than 102.5, and there's no other symptoms at all. Those are the times that I really worry. If a fever's not coming down with Motrin and Tylenol, it's generally because the dosing is not appropriately for the child's weight. I have to say that I don't think I've ever seen a fever that has not been managed well with appropriately dosed Motrin and Tylenol. So if you have dosing questions, make sure you let your doctors know, okay? All right, you guys, I hope this is helpful. Remember, we're here for you. Your doctors go into this because they want to be able to help you. You take good care and have a great weekend.